Hi guys, Lindsay here with Storybrooke Family Farm. So today I want to show you guys how to expand your berry patches with a few different simple methods that I've learned over the years. And kind of one of my favorite wintertime activities is actually doing this because it makes it so that way you only have to buy one berry plant and they're kind of expensive to buy. And then you can eventually make it so that way you have hundreds of berry plants with doing this, and maybe even enough that you can actually sell to friends and family or even at the farmer's market. So one of the first method that most people probably already know about is to dig up the suckers or the extra plants that the plant has already produced. So in doing that, like this here is a red raspberry bush. I do not know the name of this variety. All I know is that it's quite tasty and I really, really like it. So I'm going to try to expand this patch as much as possible, but in a different location because where it's at, it is not a very good location. But it was here when we bought the place, so kind of couldn't control that, but I can control where I move it to. So one of the ways that you can do this is to dig up the suckers. And so this here is one of the sucker type plants. So this plant here, most likely, this whole big bush here has set out roots underneath the ground that then spurred up and decide to make another actual bush. So then you could just take a shovel and dig up this whole area right here to then have this plant. It already has the roots intact. It is a very simple, easy way to move the plant. It does disturb the roots, it does disturb the soil, so then it could eventually actually, like if you took a lot of them, could harm the whole big, massive system as a whole and make it so that way it doesn't produce as well. It could impact it negatively to the point that it actually could kill it. Chances of that are very slim to none unless if you take a massive amount. So then another way, well, if you do it this way, it's very simple. You just pull it out of the ground and move it to wherever you want to go. However, there's another way that I really, really, really enjoy that actually is just sort of part of like the wintertime maintenance or the springtime maintenance that you're going to have with berry bushes anyways. And it makes it so you have way more. So that is actually propagating the plant by taking cuttings. So I'm already going to be pruning this bush back. A lot of people, they prune their bushes in the fall. But if you wait till it's springtime, or like right now it's December in Ohio, but it's been really, really warm, so the plants are all confused and they think that it's springtime. So if you just wait until the plant has developed buds, which are all these little green nodules that are really hard for the camera to pick up, right up there, there we go, right there is one of them. If you just wait till the plant does that, and then you make pruning cuts of sizes that are 6 inches long, something of the sort like that, then you can recycle a container. My mother-in-law has cats, and she loves her cats love the little temptation treats, and she didn't know what to do with the containers. So I was like, please, just send them to us. Like we can use them. So what I did was I drilled a couple holes in the container, which you guys can see those there, just so then that way excess water can leak out of the container. I did not put any in the bottom because I actually want these containers to be able to hold more moisture than you would if you were starting seeds. So I then just filled it up with some dirt, labeled the container red raspberry, and then you literally just stick your cuttings in. So it is like the simplest method. So here's a cutting. You just shove that bad boy in until it's about maybe an inch from the bottom of the container. And when you're looking at your cuttings, the fatter side, which this one you can't really tell much of a difference, but this here is actually the thicker side of the cutting, and then this is more of like the top of the plant. You want to shove the thicker side down in, and when you're taking the cutting, you want to try to make it so there's a good space between the end and the last bud, just because then it encourages rooting better. I have done this successfully with a ton of different berry bushes. Some of the easier ones are elderberries. Those are pretty simple, but I've actually done this also with grapes. I've done it with black raspberries, blackberries, now red raspberries. And all you have to do is, over the next few weeks or so, just keep watering it. Like, you just want the soil to maintain a nice amount of moisture within it. So then that way it will encourage the plant to root. Now, like I said, some plants are easier to get this to work with than others are, but it really doesn't hurt anything to try with anything that you have because, well, you're already pruning it. So it kind of makes sense to just sort of try to expand it. Now, for me, I don't want to dig up a whole bunch of the suckers for this plant here because it didn't produce very many fruits this year, very many berries, but I think that's because of the location. However, I still want to be able to eat berries this summer, and most of these cuttings, they might produce some fruit this year, but chances are it'll be the following year. And I don't want to mess up my crop for this year. So with just taking the simple cuttings and shoving them in the container here, then I can get hundreds or even thousands if I really wanted that many, which I don't want that many. I can get a ton of these for free by doing a chore that I already have to do. Because, like, honestly, this one here, this whole cane here, it is growing in the walkway. So we snag our pants on it. I just snagged my hand on it. We snag ourselves on it every single time we walk through here to check on the turkeys. So it's super, super simple to just wait a little while, deal with the nuisance of the plant until it starts breaking bud. Now, this will also happen again in the springtime because it's definitely not done being winter here, even though it's been consistently warm for the last week or so. The plants think that it might be starting to be spring, but it's going to freeze again, and it's going to basically kill off all of these little buds, and then they'll have to restart in the spring. So if you don't have the time to do this now, or you don't have the energy, or you don't have any free containers to recycle, then you can actually just wait to do this in the spring. I'm going to today do this berry bush, and then probably also work on transplanting or taking cuttings of grapes that I have to do a severe amount of pruning to because they were neglected for years before we got this place. So I'm already going to be pruning off a massive amount of the grapes. So I figure I might as well try to start some grapes to then also potentially sell this year. So if you guys have any questions about this method, just leave them down in the comment section below. One other method that I know about doing too is when you have the canes. I'll have to move so I can show you guys. It is so muddy here. It's kind of ridiculous. Almost fell. When you have the canes, they naturally will grow to try to go down into the earth. What you can do in the summertime is, how is this growing down into the earth? You then would stick a rock, like right here. So you'd have it be that there's a few inches of cane sticking out, and then you'd place a rock here, and that would then force the plant to basically be touching the dirt. And with it touching the wet, moist dirt, it'll actually start forming roots. So then this area here that you then put a rock down on, this is where it would produce roots. And after it started producing roots, you could then just snip right here, and then that would make it so essentially your plant would then be walking. So that's always a cool trick if you have a good area that you want to just essentially take over and stuff, because that's naturally how the plant will a lot of times spread itself anyways, especially black raspberries, which I have a patch up there that I have to take care of too because it's so thick you can't pick all of them, which is kind of a problem. But yeah, so those are the methods that I know and that I use. I know you can actually try to start the little berries from seed just by planting the berries, but then they won't grow true to seed. They won't be the exact replica or like a copy clone of its parent plant, so it won't necessarily taste the same. Could taste better, could taste worse, you never know. But birds do a lot of planting of berry bushes that way, which I suspect is actually how this one probably got started because it's right underneath of a tree. So if you guys are enjoying this content, please give this video a thumbs up, share it with your friends on social media, and if you haven't already, please subscribe to help us grow. We'd greatly appreciate it. All right, thanks for watching. Have a good one, guys.